University of Arizona Wildcats win this game. The final score was 81 to the University of Arizona Wildcats 81 to the Belmont Bruins 64. Um, One of the big things, just kind of like last game, was Nick Johnson was to try and contain um, Drew Drew the second from getting a bunch of points from going crazy and scoring a bunch of points. So this time, whenever they were going against Belmont, then Nick Johnson had the task of either taking on Ian Clark or Karen Johnson, um, and he did a pretty good job. There was a pretty good defense on Ian Clark in the first half, and I think he made uh, well, he didn't hardly make. I don't think he made. Well, he made one for three-pointer. I think he made 1 out of 6 or something like that from three-point land. Um, but then the second half came around, and we had a harder time defending. The University of Arizona had a harder time defending and stopping their their guys, their main guys from scoring. Ian Clark ended up with 21 points, and Karen Johnson ended up with 22 points. So, they were contained pretty well in the first half, but then the second half, whenever the Belmont Bruins kind of had to uh, make things happen, do whatever they could to make things happen in the second half. They were not as structured as they were in the first half, and that was whenever Ian Clark and Karen Johnson kind of went off on the U of A. Our defense was sliding. The University of Arizona Wildcats defense slid a little bit, and we I think we were they were the Belmont Bruins were, I think, shooting like, what was it, 16% or something like that from field goal percentage in the first half. But then in the second half, I think they shot 58% from field goal percentage. So we could not defend against the Belmont Bruins as nicely as we did in the first half. Uh, Whenever you're up, I think we were up by 12 points in the first half at the end of the half. So it was halftime. So the University of Arizona Wildcats were up by 12 points. I think it was 32 to 20. And then in the second half, then the reason why I'm saying that it's kind of hard or difficult to stick with good defense in the second half whenever you're up by double digits. So, uh, and there was a point in the second half whenever the University of Arizona Wildcats were up by I think it was 21 points. Um, and then it just then I think just there was moments whenever we could not stop Ian Clark, and one of the big things that I was kind of concerned about was uh, Solomon Hill had 3 fouls in the first half, the beginning of the first half, and so I was kind of concerned whether he was going to be able to weather the storm or foul out. And he did pretty good. I thought that if he goes in the second half, goes through the whole second half, um, at least to the 10-minute mark, and doesn't pick up that fourth foul, then I would be pretty darn happy. And he didn't pick up that fourth foul. The one that did get in foul trouble was um, uh, Caleb Caleb Tarczewski ended up fouling out of the game, but he had a pretty good game. I don't think that he ever scored 12 points in a game, and he did today. He scored 12 points, and that's one thing that we heard about Belmont, the Belmont Bruins. For this game, just to prepare for them, is because they were a very good field goal percentage shooting team and a very fantastic. I think they were three fantastic. I think they were like number one in the nation as far as 3-point percentage. Um, so we were really concerned about that. But we knew also that Belmont Bruins, I think their tallest guy was 6'7". So we thought that we could dominate on the rebound boards, the offensive and the defensive rebounding. And we did because the final stat, uh, the Belmont Bruins had 18 total rebounds, and the University of Arizona Wildcats had 44 total rebounds. So it was a major difference, and the offensive rebounds were so good. We got, I love to. I put a lot of weight on offensive rebounds, and the offensive rebounds were so good that, I mean, even Mark Lyons, which is one of our shorter players, he got two offensive rebounds, so that was pretty awesome. We had Kevin Parham had three offensive rebounds, and I think that's a good mark for him to have that many offensive rebounds, have three offensive rebounds. We had offensive rebounds. We had a couple from Solomon Hill, a couple from Grant Jarrett, a couple from Brandon Ashley. Um, and speaking of that, we had nice contributions from the freshmen. Uh, 3 for 7 from Brandon Ashley. 2 for 4 from Grant Jarrett. Um, And shoot, man, we even got a little contribution from Jordan Mays. He knocked down a three-pointer, a very nice three-pointer, because it's always nice to. I mean, sure you have contributions from the whole team, from most of your starting five, but it was nice. And actually, he did start, but Jordan Mays did start. But it's nice to be able to rely on a three-pointer from a different from somebody that doesn't necessarily play as many minutes. Um, he knocked down three-pointers, so that was pretty darn nice. Uh, and it got so heavy that Sean Miller threw in some of the bench in the end, because I think we were ahead by like 15 or something like that, with a minute or two left to go. So, he threw in some of the bench warmers, Max Weepking, and let's see, who else did he throw in? I think he threw in Gabe York, but well, he threw in Max Weepking for sure. I know that. But let's see. The thing that killed the Arizona Wildcats, the thing that was tough for the Arizona Wildcats, was points off turnovers. The University of Arizona had a total of 16 turnovers, which is unusual for the University of Arizona Wildcats, especially within the last few games, because the last few games, University of Arizona Wildcats they have been averaging about 12 turnovers a game, so 16 was not good, definitely not good. And Sean Miller doesn't like it whenever we have over 12 turnovers a game. Um, and the Belmont Bruins had 8 turnovers. But the reason why I'm talking about turnovers is because the Belmont Bruins were able to take those 16 turnovers that we had and they were able to convert those into shots. They made 22 points off of turnovers, and we were only able to make 12 points off of turnovers. So that was one of the reasons why it was kind of kept close most most of the first half, because the points off turnovers. Let's see, the second chance points, we dominated. The University of Arizona dominated 17 second chance points, and the Belmont Bruins had 1 second chance point. So, it's just that same goes back to the same idea that the Belmont Bruins didn't have anybody over 6'7", so we were of the strong belief that we could dominate on the rebound board, and we did. We did fairly nicely, and that was a big teller. That was a big bit of trouble for the Belmont Bruins, and they could never really get over that. They tried to shoot their way out of it. The Belmont Bruins tried to shoot their way out of it, but in the end, they couldn't. And so the University of Arizona Wildcats win this game, 81 to the Belmont Bruins 64.
Arizona getting their tournament underway today, taking on Belmont, 880-1290, 880-1290. All phone calls today brought to you by Madden Media. They can help you successfully market your business online today. To the phones we go. John, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing, man?
What's up, buddy?
Whenever I think about Solomon Hill, I kind of put him in similar to Luke Walton, and I was wondering, what do you guys think, whether Solomon Hill would make it to the NBA draft, or whether he would get drafted after this season, or not, or if he would be going over to Europe, or I think that's what Parham probably would do too.
Yeah, I think Parham's maybe an overseas guy, and he might even still get his another year of eligibility here while they appeal for that, John. But I think that you hit on a good one there with Walton, and Walton's had, what, a 10-year career in the NBA, and Solo's got a little bit more athleticism than Walton, and you could see from just the amount of time that he's put in his game here at Arizona, he's improved consistently from year to year. I think that he's a candidate. Maybe he gets drafted in the second round. I think his basketball IQ is high enough that he can latch on somewhere and maybe put together a pretty solid NBA career.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking you, Rob, is because would he? I was thinking about maybe he would be more of a wanting to be a basketball coach instead of, because that seems to be where Solomon Hill is kind of leading towards a little bit.
And I think that's always going to be there. Coaching will always be there. A chance to play in the NBA or play professional basketball anywhere. I think any of these guys would jump at that opportunity. Coaching will be there after you're done playing.
That's a good point. Yeah. So, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the phone call, John. 880-1290 is the phone number. And yes, Mike.
I think you got to remember, though, I love Solo, but Luke Walton was pretty superior college basketball player. I mean, it's easy to forget how good Luke Walton was.
They have a lot of similarities in their game, though. They do play very similarly. So, and if you want to make the argument maybe that Solomon Hill has been the MVP for Arizona all year long, you could probably make that. But looking at this Belmont team, the